as I said, we have three youngsters here. Let's start with Shaista. So Shaista, and you can add more, Shaista. I just have what, Aman sent me. So Shaista is a food technologist and an IIM Ahmedabad graduate. IIM Ahmedabad is probably the leading MBA institute. At least it used to be the leading one when I did my MBA. But of course, many of them are, equally good now. So Shaista is currently working as an associate in a venture capital firm. She loves to discuss startups and creative ideas. She is an avid art enthusiast. And if you are like her, you'll certainly be doodling in this session. But I would certainly want you to sort of, listen carefully and participate instead of doodling. Okay, so that's Shaista for you. Very modest. A lot more one can say about her. Let's move to Amim Fatmi. So Amim is a fashion technology graduate from the National Institute of Fashion Technology. So we already have art and fashion covered. Aman will have a difficult time matching this, I guess. But so after his work experience at Aditya Birla, he joined XLRI Jamshedpur, which is again a premier institute for those of you who are not aware, to pursue his MBA. Currently, he is part of TCS leadership program. So he loves helping people. Get better at soft skills. He loves spending time on LinkedIn, and he helps people prepare for interviews. Helps them in CVs, etc. So you can feel free to sort of reach out to Amim. And the last is Aman Mansuri. So you can see him also on camera here. Aman, he's smiling. He's a mechanical engineer from IIT Roorkee. He worked for a year at ZS Associates in their Pune office before again joining IIM Ahmedabad for MBA. He is currently working as a senior associate with BCG, which is Boston Consulting Group. He loves reading books, which I encourage all of you to do, and listening to Havalis, which again I love doing too. So I wasn't aware of this, so maybe we have something to sort of talk about later. So Aman strongly believes in the power of education in changing lives and wants to work towards that in the future. Another thing which probably the three of them are going to sort of talk about is that they have this wonderful website and initiative called Misal, which basically places in front of youngsters role models. So it is possible that they may talk a bit about that also, which I would certainly encourage you to do. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to have you here in this particular program. And again, for the students, remember, you can be like these three role models that are in front of you. So make sure that you use this opportunity, learn from them, get inspired, and basically do something great in life. Okay, with that, Aman, over to you.
Thank you, Professor Asim, for that kind introduction, and thank you everyone for turning it up here. It's always amazing to discuss things and talk to young people. Like we were there, almost all three of us, right? I mean, 4 or 5 years back, we were there, second and third year engineering students, trying to figure out what we want to do and having all kinds of questions. So really happy to be here and answer all the questions. And so to give you a bit about how we'll go about this session is, we have kept the PPT part and the presentation part a bit small. We'll just give you a kind of introduction about what IIM is and what all management schools are there in India. How do you get into them? What all exams are available? What career options will you have after you go into these institutions? What is the campus life like? These are all some kind of, to build an aspiration and an ambition. But the burning question that everyone has is, how do you get into these institutions, right? And we would likely we would like to cover these through individual questions and answers, because we personally feel, all three of us, that each journey is very unique, right? I mean, there are like various sections, various kind of questions, various kind of strategies, which is unique to everyone. And we'll talk about each of our journey, right, individually. Um, and after that, we would be very happy to answer all kind of questions that you would have about any kind of exams, like be it CAT, be it ZAT, be it SNAP, or any kind of questions in general, not specific to CAT as well. We'd be happy to answer that as well. If you have any kind of uh, the questions or doubts about what kind of career do you want to have, which generally everyone has at that stage. With that, I would want to start, and feel free to type questions in between, or speak up. As Professor Ansari, please feel free to stop me in between if any kind of question comes up, or if I'm going haywire, etc. So we'll just have this kind of very informal discussion. Let's not make it very formal. Okay. So with that, I'll start. All things CAT. So first, right? I mean, I would want you to, yeah. What's common between all of them? I mean, we have all gathered here because of certain specific reason, right? But if anyone, like few are very straightforward answers, but anyone knows if each one of them, like there are 6 personalities on this slide. Okay, you feel free to type it out in the chat box. I just want to understand what the kind of like the end career path that you may have after you get into these kind of institutions. These are very famous personalities from IIMs. So do we have? I'm not able to see the responses in chat. Okay, Harsha Bhogle is very straightforward, right? Harsha Bhogle. Apart from Harsha Bhogle, anyone? But okay, Raghuram Rajan. But very interesting, right? Harsha Bhogle. He is an alumni of IMA, and right now he is a very famous sports commentator. So he is not in the field of management per se, but he is earning laurels in different fields. So pretty interesting, right? You can the things you can do after the graduating from these institutions. So yes, other Raghuram Rajan. Obviously, every one of us knows Raghuram Rajan. I do what I do. The others are a bit difficult, right? Anyone can take a guess. Ratan Tata. I can't see Ratan Tata here. Okay. So I'll tell you, right? The first on the top right, is Sanjeev Bikhchandani. So Sanjeev Bikhchandani is an IMA alumni. He is the founder of Naukri.com, Jeevansathi.com, Info Ads. So he started his career as a tech entrepreneur back in early 2000s. And he's among the first tech entrepreneurs from India, and a really respected person in the field of investing and tech startup ecosystem right now. Yes, Ajay Banga. Okay, so below Sanjay Bikhchandani, we have Ajay Banga. And you know who Ajay Banga is, by the way? Anyone can take a guess? I'm not seeing any responses. So yes, you must be using a lot of debit cards, right? Debit cards, etc. He's the CEO of Mastercard, right? Global CEO of Mastercard. He again is an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad. He started his journey from Nestle, then moved to like banking, and then moved to Mastercard. And he is a great personality. I would really want you to watch his talks. It's freely available on YouTube. Stanford Talks. Really inspiring, right? The next one above Harsha Bhogle is Rajesh Gopinathan. You would not have heard, but you would have heard TCS, right? It's a large recruiter from engineering colleges. It's the company where Amim works, right? So Rajesh is the CEO of TCS. He's also an IMA alumni. The Harsha Bhogle, everyone know. The top left corner is an interesting person. and a recent success. Yes, Shri Harsha Majeti, Tanya, good one. So Shri Harsha is an alumni of IIM Calcutta. He is the founder of Swiggy. All you must all be using Swiggy, right? In lockdown, especially when you can't go out to eat. He is founder of Swiggy. And the next one, of course, Raghuram Rajan. So the idea of putting everyone here, right? I mean, from different fields. One, like you have entrepreneurs, you have sports commentators, you have people who are CEOs in industries. You have Raghuram Rajan, who is a renowned mind in finance, and and all kinds of personalities, right? You have Chetan Bhagat, who is an author, who is a graduate of IIMA. You have Mallika Sarabhai, who is a dancer, professional dancer, again an alumni of IIMA. So the idea is that these kind of institutions, right, they don't only limit yourself to kind of academic and career success in the like how do you call it, in the normal or conventional sense. There are a lot of career paths that you can follow. And also, if from your batch, right, I'm a graduate of 2020 batch, and some of my friends have already started up, and who knows, I might be a friends with billionaire in a couple of years or 3 years, right? So you have the amazing networking opportunities when you go into these institutions. Going forward, yep. So this is the list of top 20 management schools in India. I know that this we were supposed to talk about IIMs, but I would, and this is as per NIRF rankings, right? And obviously, IIM Ahmedabad is the first one. Professor Ansari, we are still the first ones. But yeah, so you have top 20, and you'd be surprised to see here, right, that there are certain IITs here as well. IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, IIT Roorkee. All of these IITs have management departments as well. So not many people know about it. I thought it would be a useful information. You have XLRI Jamshedpur. Amim is the graduate of XLRI Jamshedpur, amazing institution again. MDI Gurgaon, IIFT, SPJ, IMR. There are a lot of options, right? You are not limited to IIMs right now. A lot of options from across the country. Now talking about campus life, right? I mean, this is the best part. I mean, when you go into these institutions, obviously you have to study, but apart from studies, what do you all do? So obviously, you can see here, right? You have a lot of sports. You have like random parties. Obviously, you can take part in a lot of institutions. A lot of clubs. So it's a overall development, right? You're not limited to academics, and the focus is that you should develop your overall personality, whether you take part in cultural activities, you take part in clubs like consulting, finance, outside of your work, right? You travel, you talk to people from across disciplines, not limited to engineering, not limited to humanities, not limited to commerce, etc. Right? If you go on exchange programs, you get to travel as well, like I did. In the top left corner, it's me skydiving in Prague during my exchange program, right? And believe me, it is really exciting for a student. I was really excited when I was joining IIMA that I would be able to go to an exchange program. So what is exchange program about? 1/3 of the batch gets an opportunity to go and study in foreign universities. And Ahmedabad has partnerships with a lot of schools across the world, right? Not limited to Europe or North America or China, etc. We have partnerships all across Europe. In my batch, 140 people went for exchange, and the sad part is because of COVID, our juniors couldn't go. So yeah, I mean these times are tough, but the experience is amazing. You get to study with people from all kinds. You get to study in a different environment. You get to interact with people from different environments. You get to travel a lot, right, during your breaks. So I mean, it's also a part of the overall development that you aspire and that you should aspire for in your career trajectory. What are the career options like? I mean, you whenever we want to go for higher studies, or whenever we want to go for any kind of decide our career trajectory, we want to understand that okay, once I do this degree, once I go to these institutions, where will I end up in, right? So there are multiple career options, and these are the conventional ones, right? Management consulting. You can go into McKinsey, BCG, and I work in BCG. Product management. You could go into Microsoft, Ola, Google, and these are only some of the companies. Around 270 companies visited IMA campus. All of us were placed in 3 days with amazing packages, right? And with like great help from the ecosystem. So these are only the conventional examples that you see here. You could maybe start up. You could do a business of your own. You could join journalism companies, etc. So the field is very vast, right? You could experiment, and you have the capability. So believe me, after you, so I'll tell you a story. Okay, we have this. Faculty mentorship programs in IMA. So in order for to talk to your faculties, in order for you to interact and have a relationship, long-term relationship. So I was interacting with the faculty as part of that mentorship program, and he told us very profound thing that I still use it, right, and it gives me confidence. He told us that once you graduate from these institutions, IIMs in general, he was talking about IIMs in general, you have that capability that when you don't like some work, right, and you are not finding your work fulfilling, you could resign that day, walk out of that company, and by the time you reach your home, you could have interviews lined up because all of your friends work in amazing companies. They have seen you, they could refer you easily, and you could get at least 6 interviews by the time you reach home. So that is the kind of safety, and that is the kind of confidence that you have while you exit from these institutions. Now, $1 million question: how do you get in? We have talked about various career options. We have talked about people who have done amazingly well after they graduated from these institutions. We have talked about what is the campus life like, but how do you get in? So obviously you have entrance exams as is the norm in India and everywhere else. So you need to clear the entrance exams. CAT is generally the most conventional exam per se. It used to be for IIMs only, but now a lot of institutes are opening up themselves through CAT. ZAT is specifically for XLRI. SNAP is for Symbiosis, and IFT for Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. And there are a lot of other exams as well. These are the top 4 that were there. And you could easily Google and find information. Right? I will talk specifically about CAT right now. CAT is it's computer based. That's and conducted once a year. At the end of November, it has 3 sections: verbal ability and reading comprehension, data interpretation and logical reasoning, quantitative ability. We'll detail this once we start talking about each of our stories, right? And then you have 3 hours, 1 hour for each section. So it's not like you have entire 3 hours and you can give 1.5 hours for verbal ability, half hours for quantitative ability, 1 hour for no. You have 1 hour for each section. You have to complete 33 to 34 questions, depending on that year's format. Right, format keeps changing depending on which IIM is conducting the exam. So CAT is a qualifying exam, right? You need to qualify that exam in order for you to appear for the interview. So interview is also a part of the criteria of you getting admissions. So what is interview about? So after you qualify CAT, you get interview calls from IIMs, right, or participating institutes in CAT. And these calls are for you appearing for interview. And the interview, what is it about? It's generally a 20-minute in-person interview. Some IIMs have kind of a written test, small 5-minute written test before the interview, just to gauge your communication skills, written communication skills, and then the 20-minute in-person interview. It's mostly about your academics, work experience, interest, hobbies, and everything and anything about past life, right? And the last part is important, because when I detail about my interview experience from IIM, you'll figure out why that is important. Right? And so yes, so what we'll do is right now, one by one, we'll talk about each of our preparation strategy for each sections and how did they prepare for interview. Right? We don't have a slide for that, but we'll go one by one. I'll take first slide. So. Um, I started preparing CAT in my third year of engineering. In let's say in January, and the exam was supposed to be in November. So I started preparing in January. I joined a coaching institution at Roorkee, Career Launcher, and so we had like a couple of classes every weekend, right? And what I figured out was that at the end of the day, when you look back and understand, right, the most important thing, I think two most important things that CAT tests is your speed and accuracy, right? That's the only two things, speed and accuracy. The questions, if you are given like 4 hours or 5 hours for the question paper, you will be able to solve almost 90% of the questions if you have done some amount of practice. So it's not tough, right? What is tough is doing that in the time limit and being accurate about it. How do you develop that, right? These two things. Uh, so I'll come to verbal ability and reading comprehension first, right? Verbal ability and reading comprehension mostly is testing your language skills, right? English. And the way you can build mastery over VARC is to be eclectic in your reading habits, right? So as Professor Asim mentioned in our introduction, I like reading books, and I like reading in general. The most important thing that my dad developed a habit at like really young age was, reading newspapers. So I have a habit of reading newspapers from very early on, and it really helped me during my verbal ability and reading comprehension, because uh, when you get a reading, so I'll tell you what reading comprehension is if you're not aware, right? So reading comprehension is basically a paragraph of about 200 250 words, and then you have questions based on that paragraph from that reading comprehension. And those paragraphs can be of any field, right? I mean, they could be from philosophy, they could be from biology, they could be from physics, they could be from mathematics, they could be a newspaper article, it could be a research paper. So you need to have a habit of reading everything under the sun and being able to understand that, and then arrive at some kind of conclusions and answer accordingly. So how do you develop that? Read newspapers, read editorial of the newspapers, and I would recommend two newspapers that really helped me: the Indian Express and the Hindu, right? And if you are reading fiction, right? Fiction, non-fiction, philosophy, biographies, etc. So, and obviously practice daily. I mean, even if you get 15 minutes, just practice like 10 questions. So what I used to do when I was, working, or kind of in between classes, I used to open an app, right? And so Byju's was there at that point of time. There are a lot of other apps. So, and they have free kind of questions available. So you could just in 10 minutes, you could have answered 10 questions, etc. And just practice whenever you get time. For data interpretation and logical reasoning, the only thing that is important is mental maths, right? I mean, how fast you're able to do calculations, and for both quantitative ability and DILR, and solve puzzles. And I think be comfortable with all kinds of charts, bar chart, line chart, pie charts. How do you interpret charts, right? How do you make sense of all the data that is being given to you, which is like a lot of data, and all the data might not be useful, but you have to arrive at some kind of understanding of the data. What is useful? How do you answer questions? How do you derive understanding, etc. Quantitative abilities, again, your basic maths, 8, 9, 10 standard maths, not hardcore maths. The only thing that works here is that you clear your basic concepts first, and it gets cleared very fast, and then you just practice and practice. I mean, the two things that I mentioned at the start, right? Accuracy and speed. Those things will only be developed if you practice daily. And I'm not saying that you need to work, at least 3-4 hours each day for like 3-4 months. No. Even if you do like 1 hour, 2 hours each day for 3 months, in your consistency, consistent in your preparations, you will be fine. And lastly, give mocks. There are a lot of mocks from Times, Career Launcher, etc. available. Give mocks at the time of your exam, so you are in that mindset, so your body clock adjusts, right? Analyze your mistakes, very important. While you are practicing, while you are giving mocks, analyze your mistakes, right? Don't just give mocks for the sake of it. If you are giving mock for 3 hours, spend 4 hours analyzing your mistakes. Otherwise, you won't understand where you are making mistakes, and you will just keep making the similar mistakes again and again, and the cycle repeats. Analyze and then work on those things, and then you know do better. So that was my kind of, so how it ended up for me, right? I mean, I gave cat I took cat in at the last year of my undergrad, and cleared it. Got admission into IIM Bangalore, but didn't join because I was not prepared whether I want to do an MBA or not at that point of time. And I again took cat in next year, cleared, and then I was kind of sure that okay, this is what I want to do. Cleared IIM Ahmedabad and joined again. So both the times I could only clear because I was consistent in my preparations. I did not give like large amount of time, but I was consistent. I could practice half an hour each day. I would practice half an hour. If I could practice 1 hour, I would practice 1 hour. But just being consistent is very important. And about interviews, right? I'll tell you about my IIMA interview, as I earlier mentioned, right? So during my IIMA interview, so I went in, and naturally the introduction starts, and it asks you about what is your academics and work experience. And I was not prepared very about mechanical engineering. So I am a mechanical engineer by degree, uh, but not by practice, right? So I was not prepared on any mechanical engineering questions during my interview, um, and I was lucky that I did not get asked that. But right, my entire interview revolved around where I was from, right? So I had lived in 3 different cities by then. Kalol, which is my hometown, Roorkee for my undergrad, and Pune, where I was working. And the entire conversation revolved around my understanding of these cities. What city would I prefer? And what was the reason behind my preference, right? So and and the second was my love of books, right? I mean, I mentioned that I like reading books. Unfortunately, one of the panelists also loved the same author as I loved, right? And we had a good discussion, 5-10 minutes discussion about why we loved that particular author, and what kind of books do we like to read, etc. Right? So when you go in the interview, have a perception that your entire life, anything could be tested, right? And you should have a sound understanding of why you made that particular decision. You know, do you observe your surroundings or not? What kind of what kind of what kind of interests and hobbies do you have, and why do you have them, and why do you love them, right? And I mean, it's not difficult. At first, while I was preparing for my interview, it looks like a mammoth task, right? But you also get a deep understanding of yourself and your interests while you are preparing for these kinds of interviews. So it really helps as well. Over to Amim or Shaista. I want to go first, talking about their experience.
Okay, so I think I'll go. So talking about CAT, so during my graduation, I wasn't sure at all what do I want to do as a next step in my career. So I knew what my IIMs have, career path my IIMs have taken, but I wasn't interested in any of these. And during that time, during my third year, there was a buzz about entrepreneurship. So I got interested in entrepreneurship a lot, but I was sure that I'm not ready to take something on my to take something on my own. So I joined an incubation center offline. So it wasn't a part of through the placement committee. I got it off campus. So yeah, I got into Indigram Lab Foundation. It's an incubation based in Delhi. And the founder of that incubation center is an IIM grad. And the person that I was reporting to was from FMS, and another person, another manager was again from IMA, and there was someone from IRMA. So I really liked that job. I enjoyed a lot working there, and people were nice. I networked a lot with the booming startups and entrepreneurs, and learned a lot. So I really liked that job a lot. And so but there I could sense that if I want to grow within this industry, I have to have this another degree to take to step ahead. So that's when I started preparing for CAT, and I did it with along a full-time job. And since my Saturdays were working, I couldn't join any institution. There's no institution which provides classes for only on Sundays. So I couldn't join any institution, any coaching institution. I prepared on my own. So coming specifically to sections, so for verbal ability, I think Aman said it right. So your reading speed and your understanding of the content what you're reading is very important. So what I used to do, I used to pick up those the same newspapers, the editorial or any editorial part of the Hindu or any other newspaper. I chose the Hindu. So I used to travel in metro, and I had this 20 minutes ride from my home to my workplace, and I used to pick up just one section of the editorial. I used to read it thoroughly, and after reaching at my desk in my workplace, I used to write about it. Like I used to summarize the article in my own words, just to get the sense of how much I really grasped from that article and how much I understood from that article. And then I used to compare that. Have I covered all the points in the article, or is there something that I missed out on? So I did it for a couple of months. My reading speed increased. I could comprehend everything fast and in a very effective manner. So that's the only thing that I did for verbal ability, apart from giving the mocks. And for data interpretation, again, I didn't join any coaching institution, but I bought this mock test series. They have a complete mock test in it, and they also have sectional wise tests, and they also have some very mini versions of these tests. So on data interpretation, what I used to do, I used to wake up, and my first job, even before brushing my teeth, was to solve a data interpretation problem. So yeah, that's what I did in data interpretation. And then quantitative ability, I referred a book. I studied it from a book. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the book. It's a very
Arun Sharma, is it?
Arun Sharma, exactly. Yeah. So I referred to that book. I used to solve questions from there. There are different level. There are questions with different level of difficulty. So I only solved level of difficulty 1 and 2. I never solved it. I never went to the third one. I know that I'm gonna miss those questions even if I even if they came in paper. So I never ventured out there. So I only solved these the question up to difficulty level 2. Yeah. So that's what I did for each sections. And I gave mocks. I gave a lot of mock papers. I started with my preparation with giving mocks, and I remember my score in my first mock test was just 24. It was only 24, and I raised it to like 110, 20, and I used to give a lot of mocks. So that was my only preparation: giving mocks and doing these exercises side by side, giving mocks and then analyzing them. I used to spend my breaks at work, analyzing my mocks. So I used to give the mocks at home, and I used to analyze them at my workplace. So yeah, that's my preparation for CAT. For interviews, so I...
Shaista, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, there is
Yeah.
one question that is relevant, which you can answer or anybody else can, which is from Danish Raza, who says, what is the level of mathematics that is, asked in the exam? Is it like the 10th grade math that we studied? Is it very basic, or is the level higher than that? So, you can answer it, or anybody else wants to take it on.
Yeah. So the level is up to 10th standard. So it's not very basic, but it's not very tough as well. I think the main part is to understand the question first. Sometimes we just rush into answering, so finding the answer of the question, and we don't understand the question. Sometimes the questions are so simple, just written in a complex way, and we get panic and we don't even attempt those questions. So understand the question, spend your time on the question, and then come up to solving to start solving that question. And trust me, there are some few basics. There are some few set of questions that come in CAT and not beyond that. And I think the Arun Sharma book covers it very well. And join these groups called, I joined a group from there's a site called pagalguy.com, and you can join random groups groups of kids who prepare for CAT. So I joined this group and I posted these questions, and a lot of people who are there to help you in understanding the approach of each of how they solve this question. And even if you just Google the question, there'll be there'll be several links which can tell you how they tell you about the approach of the question. So there are few shortcuts to solve certain types of questions, and you'll understand those once you start preparing. So in quantitative ability, what more I started giving these mocks, and what how these mocks help me is understanding my strengths and weaknesses. So if I'm when I'm analyzing these mocks, I understood that okay, these types of questions are my strength. I need to make them as I need to be very, very strong in these points. So even there were certain sections in quantitative ability as well, certain type of questions such as time, speed question, relative motion questions. Geometry was my strongest point. So I even did the level of difficulty 3 exercise for these different for these topics in quantitative ability. And for the weakest part, I just build up my strength up to level of difficulty 2. And if there are any sections such as PNC was my weakest part, and I just skipped it altogether. I skipped it in JE, I skipped it in here. I don't need PNC in my life. That's what I made myself under. So yeah, for interview, so one good thing that I did, and I'm very proud of doing that, is that I reached out to my bosses at my workplace. So because I was lucky, I was privileged enough to have my bosses from premier B schools. So I reached out to them, and one of them said that it doesn't matter how much you know about the world. It really doesn't matter how much you know about the current affairs, how much you're aware about what's going around you. What really matters is how much do you know about yourself, what you're doing right now, what you have done in the past, what you like, what you don't like, why you like what you like, why you don't like what you like, where do you want to go in future. And if you are not clear what do you want to do in future, like what have you tried to know the answers. So I think that was a very golden advice for me, and it worked out well. So I first started preparing questions about myself. You'll also get a set of questions even on Google. If you just Google the kind of question which are asked in IIMs interview, you'll get a set of questions, and most of the questions are based on you. So they'll ask about everything about you, from meaning of your name to, as Aman said, which place will you prefer, and uh, yeah, about your work experience. Why do you do what you do? What will your so one of the question was, if we reach out to your boss, what will she say about you? What are the 3 words she'll say about you? And what are the 3 things you think that she hates about you? So yeah, those were the questions, and it completely, my interviews completely revolved around my work experience. And it's your job to make that interview interesting. They'll start talking about the very first question in any kind of interview is, tell me something about yourself. That's the chance of that's the golden opportunity that you get to revolve the interview in your favor. Talk about the most interesting part about your life, about what you have done in past, what you're currently working on, or what you're passionate about. Yeah, so I'm also very passionate about art. So a lot of my interviews revolved around the arts and artists that I admire, and why do I admire them, and what kind of artwork I'm into, and why don't I sell my art? Why am I planning to sell my art? Things like that. So yeah, for me, everything luckily revolved around myself in all my interviews. There was I don't think so. I was ever asked about any current affair in the interviews. There was just one generic question, which was convert kilometers into miles. Apart from that, everything revolved around me. And if you make it interesting enough, they won't go beyond that. I think that's it from my side. Do you have any questions specifically? Do you want to ask any questions specifically to me, so I can answer that, or we can answer after the session?
So there's a question in chat which is not just specific to you, but certainly you can answer it and others can too. So there's one question. Okay, there's one by Danish Raza, which says, how do you know you can't solve a particular question in a particular period of time because time is ticking? So basically, how do you do time pressure, I guess, is what he's talking about.
Danish, I think give mocks. That's the only way to know the answer, if you can handle that kind of stress. So in one of these groups that I joined, preparatory groups that I joined, so there was some person who wrote that if the exam is for 3 hours, you need to learn how to sit for at least 4 hours in one particular place and use your mind to the fullest extent at the same time. And you need to do that. Like, if you're prepared, so his advice was, if you're planning to give a mock at 3, sit at 2:30, start the mock at 3, complete it by 6, sit till 6:30, and then leave. So you need to make your body accustomed to that situation, and you have to use your mind to the fullest. And when it comes to quantitative ability, it's the last section in CAT. Last or first? Yeah, it's the first section in the CAT, and data interpretation is the last section. And both sections, they need a lot of your mental strength, and you need to be your strength should be equal in both the sections. So you can't let your mind drain by the time you come to DI section. So you need to train your body to sit for those 3 hours, and your mind to work to its fullest during those 3 hours. So give mocks. I gave around 35-40 mocks during my entire course of preparatory time. So yeah, give mocks, and you'll know about, you'll figure out that yourself, what you like, what you don't like, what you're.
And analyze those mocks, please.
Yeah, analysis is the most important part. Until you analyze your mock, you won't know which part you're good at, which are the parts you need to work upon. Yeah.
So the question, Shaista, you said that you didn't really do any formal preparation in terms of joining any institute, etc. So how do you get these mocks?
Okay, so there are a lot of online coaching centers. Even Byju's is now has come up with online coaching for CAT, and I just bought the mock test series. It was around for 10,000 at that time. I'm not aware of the price right now. I just bought the mock test series and join these groups of students who are preparing. I was very lucky that two of my very close friends, they were already, one of them was already in IMA, one of them was in IML, and whenever I felt demotivated, I used to call them up, like, how did you do it? So yeah, stay in touch with people who are already preparing, or if you can find, stay in touch with get in touch with people who are already there. So, and whenever you feel demotivated, call them up. Uh, yeah, and rest they'll do the job of motivating you.
I guess there are other questions, but let's get Amim into the mix. He's waiting patiently, smiling away. So let him, say a few things, and then we'll try to sort of address some questions. I also have many questions. You can think of me as a surrogate for the students. Okay, so Amim, yes, go ahead.
Sure, perfect. So, I think my journey is I would focus less on how I prepared because I think Aman and Shaista completely explained what to do with verbal and what to do with quants. And I think if I would do again, then I would be repeating all of those points. So I was in my first year in NIFT when I came to know about IIM and IIT and XLI or SPJAN because people at NIFT were from very, let's say, from families where people were already doing these kinds of courses. So when I started interacting with them, I came to know about, okay, fine. So there are institutes like IIMs, and therefore let's go there. Let's see what to do. So when I started inquiring or Googling that, okay, how to reach to IIM, then the first blockage that I got was that it's not only about CAT and percentile, it's also about cracking that interview. And between that interview and between that CAT percentile comes your past. Because all these IIMs or these premium institutes, they start seeing that how did you perform in your 10th, how did you perform in your 12th, how did you perform in your undergraduation, what was your marks in your and imagine if I am in 2014 and 5 years back I have done my 10th, and at that time I had no clarity what I wanted to do in my life. And let's take my example. In 12th I did my 12th from AMU, and I completely messed it up and I scored 60%. I got 60. So now whoever I reached out to and I said that I want to do an MBA from IIM, my first response that I would get is, it's impossible for you to reach to a premium institute because they pay a lot of weightage to these uh, past academic scores. And therefore, in my second year, I thought that, okay, fine, so this is out. So what can I do? But as people explained the importance of having good people in life, I was lucky to have someone in my life who told me that there is another way around that you can compensate for your past academic scores. It's not that you have done it, so you have to carry that baggage. So they told me that one thing that you can do is try to make your profile very good. By profile, what I mean is the kind of experiences that you have in life, the kind of extracurricular works that you do, the kind of work. For example, in my undergraduation, they said don't miss your undergraduation. So my undergraduation was all about making sure that I don't do that mistake. So I started working a lot on my academics, and at the same time, I started working on my profile. I joined few clubs, few societies, started participating randomly in any competitions that I would see. I was in Delhi, so I would know that okay, SRCC is conducting some kind of competition, and I would just take two of my friends that you just be with me on that team, and let's participate. And I would start going there, and luckily things started turning well. I started doing internship. I started working along with my studies, and then slowly I started building profile. And the And the major thing that I started building was a confidence that I can do it. So after a decent stint at my undergraduation, I went to work in Aditya Birla, and I was a management trainee there. And the best part about that management trainee stint was that I was working with different departments, and on all of these different departments, the person who was heading that department, either he was from IIM Ahmedabad or SPJAN or XLI or FMS, and then I started interacting with them, and I thought that, matlab, if you have to be successful, you have to be from this institute. This became my mentality, and therefore, after working for an year with Aditya Birla Group, I started. Okay, fine. So I gave my first mock, and like Shaista said that she scored 24. So in my first mock, I scored a percentile of 23. So not even the score of 24, I scored a percentile of 23. So I'm very sure that my score would be far lower than 24. And that's because I am a non-engineer, so I did not have. I don't know when I last saw maths. I hated maths, to be very honest. So I thought, okay, fine, I cannot. I started preparing with my job. I would go work, and because it was my first year, so I thought that I have to prove myself at office. So रात के 8 साढ़े 8 बजे तक I used to work in my office, get back 9 p.m. and then 9:30 I would start studying. And then after 2 or 3 months of doing this, I thought that I cannot do both of this. And because I have to change how things are with me right now, I have to do an MBA. And therefore, I took a major decision of leaving my job, and I started preparing. I came back home, and I remember I told my parents I'm coming back home, and everyone was like, "Are you mad? You have a job at Aditya Birla. Why are you leaving it?" And I was very clear in my head that कि अगर मैं नहीं छोड़ूंगा तो ना मैं I won't be even doing my job well, and I won't even be doing my preparation well. So I took that leap of faith. I came back home, and I see one question here, that how do you motivate yourself that for that long duration, for 6 months or 7 months or 5 months? How do you keep yourself motivated? So what I did was I took out a A3 sheet, and I wrote my 10 reasons why I want to do an MBA. And it was basic core instincts. For example, even it had points like, I want to show off to the world that okay, I have an MBA degree. I want to earn well, and all of those reasons that I could think of, not fancy key. I want to have good network and all of that. That did not came into my head back then. These are all jargons that we use after an MBA. Before an MBA, things are very different. Before an MBA, things are very simple. Either you just want a good job, you want a good company, you want good package, you want to show off to your family member, you want to wear that T-shirt that says IIM, or you want to wear that T-shirt that says Excel, right? So with all of that, it was I put it on in front of me, and every day I would see that, and anytime I would feel dejected, I would say, okay, no, these are the 10 reasons why I want to do, and I have to do it. So when I started, the results were as I expected. I started failing in almost all the sections other than verbal. Verbal was decent, so I was like, okay, fine, English, theek hai, baki everything is just I don't know where it is. And again, I think the most important tip that I can give you is that don't prepare in isolation. If you just prepare, if you just sit and start preparing in isolation, I think that's the worst thing that you can do to your preparation, because you don't know how others are tackling the same situation. You don't know what's the competition outside. You don't know that there are a lot of people who can help you. So I also joined these multiple groups on Facebook. I think one of the only useful thing that I have done on Facebook is joining these groups. And then Pagal Guy is one website. If you're not aware, Pagal Guy is an amazing platform. So I joined that platform, and then from there what happened was that I started solving question, putting my answers in comments, and then slowly few people started seeing that okay, fine, this guy is diligent, har din answer dalta hai ye banda. So one of them asked me that, do you want to be a part of our study group? And I thought, wow, someone is recognizing me for my poor mathematics and inviting me to their study group. So I joined it, and I think that's the most beautiful thing that has happened to me in my life, because I got someone who was struggling with verbal, and I was struggling with DI and quant. So what I did was I said that every day I will solve two DIs and two RCs, and you solve the same DI sets and same RC sets, and then you tell me how did you solve those DI sets very well, because that guy was really good in DI. And I will tell you how did I approach my RC. So every day, 1 hour for 30 minutes, I would explain that person that how did I approach this RC set, and at the same time, that person would tell me how did he approach that particular DI set. And I can't tell you that 3 months being consistent every day. And I remember my mom would tell me, "You don't study, you just keep talking to a phone on phone to a random guy." And I would say, "No, this is something good that's happening here." And in those 3 months, I could see my percentile in DI going from 40 to 98. And I think in my life I have done decent things, but this is, I think, my biggest achievement in life, because after seeing a DI set for the first time, my pen would not move. I would think, how can even someone solve this particular question? And because I gave my first cat in my third year just for seeing how to do, and I remember I did not solve a single question in the DA because I could not just understand that what is happening in this question. In There was so much data and my mind could not process it. But he taught me how to break each and every question, as Shaista was also saying that you need to break those complex sentences into easier sentences. So that happened. Then again, all of this happened. I scored, and because I was a non-engineer and all of that, so I had in my mind that okay, fine, even if I score decently well, there are a lot of reservations for non-engineer candidates. So I'm going to get a call from all these IIMs, and life is going to be very rosy ahead. So, but I scored 98 percentile, and I was very happy that now I'm going to get calls from or whichever place I want. And then one day all results started coming in, and then I did not get a call from any old IIMs, and I can't tell you where in what situation I was, but again those 10 pointers that I had written way before my journey started. I thought, okay, fine. So XLI gave me an opportunity, and an XLI is among the top 5 institute, and I was like, okay, fine. This is my one call, and I have to convert it. So when I went to my interview, I remember I was just sitting outside my interview in the waiting room, and in that I had a decent score. I had 95 percentile. So the person sitting next to me in that waiting room, he asked me, "What is your percentile in that?" And I said 95. So I said, "What's yours?" He said 99.9 something. And he told me कि भाई तेरा तो बहुत मुश्किल है होना. I was like, bro, I have got rejected so many times that even if they reject me one more time, it's not going to add a lot. So I went into my interview, and my entire interview revolved around why did I score 60% in 12th? And my interview duration was 54 minutes. And out of those 54 minutes, 52 minutes I was asked why did I score 60% in 12th? And I remember that that's the most meaningful conversation I think I have had in my life. And those professors, when I went to college, they remembered my interview really well. And my only answer was in first line that yes, I accept that I did not study in my 12th. And if you want to know that what I have done post that, you can ask me. And I've done a lot of work after that. So they understood the entire point, the entire journey that someone went, and they accepted that you can change your past and you can make it through. The other 2 minutes, the one question was that because I was from fashion technology, so one of the professors was bald, one of the lady professors had gray hairs, and one of the professors had really black hairs. So I was asked that by the bald guy. He asked me that what should I wear that makes me look handsome. And I was so, because I thought in that moment कि select तो मैं होने वाला नहीं हूँ because I have 95 percentile. So whatever I will say doesn't make any difference. So that guy asked me what should I wear that will make me look handsome. And I said that the only thing that can make you look handsome is that you should wear a wig. And for the next 2 minutes, everyone in that room laughed. All the professors, both these professors started mocking that guy. He has anyone ever made you feel so embarrassed in life and all of that? And I was like, Ki, my interview is gone. I have completely disrespected one guy. And all four of us were laughing so loudly that people in the other room thought that we don't know what's happening in that room. Why are these people laughing so insanely? I came out, My father asked me how was your interview. I told him 52 minutes were good, and in the last 2 minutes I completely screwed my interview. And he asked me what happened. I said I told a bald guy that he's bald, and I don't know how to feel about it. I came back and results came. I got into Excel right, and I think one thing that I will tell all of you, other than all these preparation tips that is there, is that if before you start your journey, write down why are you starting this journey. And on this journey, there will be, I think, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 times when you will feel that you can't make it, when you the world will make you feel that you can't make it. There will be people posting on those groups that you join on Facebook and Pagal Guy. People will be posting, okay, in this mock I scored 99.99 percentile, and you will be scoring 80 percentile, and you will be thinking, what will happen to me? Where will I go? So write your reasons of pursuing this journey before you start this journey, and whenever you feel that you can't do it, just go back and visit it. And these 10 reasons that you write right now will help you in your interview also, because then also you will have clarity that why did you start this journey. It's very important to remember that. And I think if you are doing that, and yes, the last thing is that take as many mocks as possible. You may be failing in those mocks miserably, but if you are analyzing them well, as Aman said, if you are noting down where did you actually commit that mistake, or what is that important thing that you learned. There are a lot of tricks that is shared in those mock solutions. So if you make a note, I used to make a diary and I used to write, okay, fine. And I used to write it in Hindi ki जब भी प्रॉफिट ऐसे बढ़ रहा होगा तो ये वाला फॉर्मूला लगा लो, because I was scared of math and I knew कि if I will write it in complex situations I can't solve it again, so I had to revisit this. So I used to write it in हिंदी की प्रॉफिट बढ़ रहा होगा तो ये फॉर्मूला लगाना है, प्रॉफिट घट रहा होगा तो ये फॉर्मूला लगाना है, as simple as that. And when I used to revise, I would, at the end of my journey, I would used to laugh कि 6 महीना पहले मैं इतना डम था कि मैं ऐसे लिखता था कि प्रॉफिट बढ़ रहा है तो ये करना होगा. एंड इन दो 6 months आई रियलाइज दैट आई हैव गेन्ड अ लॉट. So wherever you are, whichever situation, how much percentile doesn't matter. If in the coming, I think you have 6 months. If in the coming 6 months you are going to be consistent every day, you fix a time that okay, I am going to study 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, whatever you feel like. I think you can make it. If I can make it, anyone can make it. That's my formula.
Wonderful. I mean, just to highlight one thing, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can write the CAD as many times as you want in life, right? So it is not necessarily just 6 months. They could potentially take it next year or maybe 2 years from now. That option exists, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes. There are a lot of people who even after qualifying CAT, even after graduating from IIM, just for the fun of it, they go and attempt CAT. So I know my friends who were in XLI and used to go, yeah, bhai, aaj CAT hai and let me go and give, and they would come and say, okay, yeah, I scored 98 percentile this year. So you can go and give, and I think if you want success, then one attempt, two attempts, three attempts. If you want it, you want it.
And Amin, I think you touched upon a very good point of past academic performance. And I also got a message privately from someone. So the question is that a lot of people in IIMs are from IIT. And so other college students do they really have a chance in IIM? So I think I'll take that question. The point here to notice that most of the students are from IIT, but not all of them are from IIT, and the students apart from IIT are from very diverse background, and it doesn't. So it does reflect your past academic performance. Does reflect in your interviews. Does it reflect in your interviews? But it doesn't. But to get to the interview, the first part is to crack CAT. And when you're registering for CAT, they don't ask for your 12th percentage or 10th percentage or which college are you from. Just give that CAT, uh, crack the CAT, get the interview call, and then crack the interview. and you don't really need to have a very stunning profile in terms of academics, like very stunning college, very stunning um, acad scores in college or in 12th or in 10th. Just be interesting, just be stunning you. And yeah, make your profile, pursue things which interest you, and which things which you're passionate about. So during my interviews, I remember during that time, since I was working with a lot of startups at my work, so there was a startup who was doing really good job using IoT, and I learned so much about IoT. And my IIMA interview specifically revolved entirely on IoT, and the professors, they didn't know things about IoT which I knew. So I was kind of educating them about what Internet of Thing is, how does it work, and they just on that they just gave me a case study. Okay, there's a since I'm from a food technology background, they said that, okay, you need to implement IoT in a bread making company. How are you going to do that? And I instantly gave an answer to them. And to this date, I sometimes get messages from that particular professor who took my interview कि शाइस्ता अब bread की company खोल ली क्या. So yeah, so make yourself interesting. Make yourself so interesting that people want to know more about you. They want to talk to you. Pursue people on LinkedIn. Ask them questions to ask them to mentor you. Ask them to tell you about things. Tell them that they're working on a very interesting things and you're interested to know more about it. Ask them questions. Ask them to connect on a call and answer your questions. Yeah, and people are willing to do it. They are willing to help you out. They're willing to mentor you. Just you. The only thing you have to do is to reach out and seek guidance and seek mentorship.
I have a question for the three of you. By the way, on this particular call, we also have Roshan. Roshan is one of the mentors at CETI, and he is a recent, graduate from ISB, the Indian School of Business. And he may have something to add to the conversation. So I've asked him to feel free to join in the fun whenever he sort of, feels like. One question that I just wanted to highlight something based on the group of students that we have assembled here. These students are mostly from, all of them are engineers. And so quantitative ability is probably not going to be that difficult for them if they put in the effort, do the mocks, etc. But I think verbal ability is a challenge, which is a little bit difficult to overcome in a short period of time. So imagine a scenario, and I don't know, how relevant this scenario is, but imagine a scenario wherein somebody hasn't really read any book apart from whatever course books students read. I don't think they read much these days, but anyway. So imagine you haven't read anything in, say, last 3, 4, 5 years. And so reading comprehension is a challenge. How do you overcome that type of deficit? And do you think, this talk is even meaningful if somebody is willing to change their life and put in the effort? Maybe it takes a couple of years to sort of turn around one's life. So do you think how do you in particular handle the verbal ability challenge?
I think I'll go first with this one. And based on my experience of how I started reading, right, not particularly for CAT, but how I started reading in general. And I had mentioned, right, that my father instilled in me the habit of reading newspapers, and how it started was he would give me sports section of the newspaper first, right? So start reading whatever interests you first, right? Whether about art, whether about history, whether about philosophy, anything. I'm damn sure you would be interested in something, right? About sports, about fashion, if you are interested, about startups if you're interested, about community you are interested, right? You would be interested in something. Start with that and spend some time reading that, and then try to branch out in like nearby things, right? And when I started reading books, I started reading like, mystery or thrillers, right? Pure fiction, which would like 120 pages, 200 pages, and one sitting I'm done, right? Not 500, 600 pages book. But start with absolutely basic books, absolutely basic things. You don't need to start reading Shakespeare when you are starting your reading habit, right? You need to start by A, B, C, D, and then you need to progress to alphabets, and then you need to progress to sentences, and then you need to progress to certain paragraphs, right? And that is how you start. So start with things that you are really interested. That is how I developed my reading habit. And with books as well, I started by reading, mystery thrillers, and now I am reading like all kinds of books available, right? So and I realize that it's a 5-6 months journey, but if you are focused in improving that particular skill, right, I think it can definitely be done in 5-6 months. And just based on reading newspapers, you have all kinds of articles available in newspapers, right? You have lifestyle articles, you have sports articles, you have philosophy articles, you have political articles, you have the science and tech, business, etc. So it's one-stop shop for all your reading habits. So I really, really, really recommend start reading newspapers. Amim and Shaista, if you have any other things.
I think my approach in life in general has been that whatever you are scared of, just do it. Like you don't know, so your English is weak and you want to make it, you want to be fluent in the language. Just practice it. Read books, talk to people in English, and make your friends talk to you in English, and listen to, watch English movies, watch English episodes, watch Netflix, binge on it. Really, it helps. And yeah, would listen to podcasts. There's so many things. Watch any YouTube videos, follow any English speaking YouTuber. So do those things. If you want to learn how to write it, write a page daily. If you want to increase your reading comprehension, read a page daily. Make it 2 next week, make it 3 page next week. So yeah, whatever you want to learn, just do it, and by doing you learn it.
Okay, so that's one. There are a bunch of questions. Danish Raza has asked a few. We will ask him in a minute or so to, unmute himself and ask the question instead of me reading the stuff. But I have one question, fundamental question that I want to ask you guys, which is, कि भाई करना क्यों चाहिए IIM? In the sense that, we have these students, they are computer science geeks. Maybe they have, a good life awaiting them. Okay, some of them maybe are not from computer science. So what is it that the IIM or the MBA, the ISB, the XLRI, the IMT, whatever, what does the good MBA education give you, and how can your life be transformed? Okay, so we have two types of students here. One is somebody who finishes engineering, gets into the Infosys and TCS of the world, maybe gets a 5 lakh package or a 6 lakh package, and now suppose you want to somehow tell these students you can do better. Can the three of you somehow convince them that this is an effort well worth the sort of, the reward is well worth the effort in some sense?
Okay, maybe I would like to go first. So I think the first thing, let me be very, very blunt, and let me be very honest with you, is that the salary that I used to draw in Aditya Birla Group is my tax paid today monthly. So that is the first incentive I think everyone has. Maybe after MBA, we try to develop it and we try to say it in a very, let's say, in a different fashion. But to be honest, when my first salary came post MBA, the tax that I paid was actually my salary that I used to get when I was working with the Birla Group. So that's the first thing. That is first thing, that you get a very good start. What I believe in life is that your entire career is like a, it's like a nilami, that you enter into a nilami, and everything starts with what's the base price that you, that what's the base price of you that is set. If it's 5 lakh, people will start bidding from 5 lakhs. If it's 20 lakhs, people will start bidding from 20 lakhs. If it's 30 lakhs, people will start bidding from 30 lakhs. So what is the base price that you set for yourself? Because once that base price is set, it's very difficult to change. So even if you switch a job, so again the next company that is hiring you starts bidding on the CTC that you had in your last company. Right now, people actually ask you to fill what's your last CTC in the form. So everywhere it's about the base price. So for me, it was, I worked for 1 year and I realized that the kind of effort that I'm putting right now in my job, I can put the same level of effort and draw a huge salary. So why would I put in so much effort and draw less salary? So that was my first motivation, which where I started preparing for IIM. The second biggest motivation for me was that in my final year of NIFT, I got an opportunity to represent India, and I went to Maldives. And in this delegation, which was selected by Government of India, there were people from 50 best institutes of the country. I think NIFT would be the least one in that college in the order of importance. So people were from IIT, people were from IIM, people were from Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, people were from FMS, there were people who were pursuing their research from Indian Institute of Science. And when I talked to them, I felt that I don't know so much. These guys, I don't know what these guys are talking. There were people who were discussing Raghuram Rajan's book and his economic policies and how he thinks about it. There were people who were talking about why the stock market crash happened and how did someone predict it so much earlier and all of this. And I used to feel that I'm not part of this conversation. So there was a guy from IIM Ahmedabad itself, and I asked him that how do you know all of this? So he said, I just sit in my class. There are a lot of people like you are listening me talking right now. There are a lot of people who talk around me. So I have just captured 1 bit, 2 bit from each of them, and then now I know all of it. So then I realized that if I, for me to be in that circle is very important if I want to move forward in my life. So being an exceller, I think today I knew nothing about stock market. I would have never known anything about stock market or how to do an SIP and how does compounding work and all of that. But my seniors, they used to discuss it all the time that, okay, fine, this is the loan, huge loan that we have. And yes, one important part of your MBA journey is also the loan that you will take. So how can we take off that loan? Where should we invest? So a lot of things I grasped. I started. I was a part of a student committee. I was heading that student committee in Excel. So seeing people do a lot of this, and the best part is that you get to be with the sharpest brain of the country that has been filtered by a process. So for example, if I take an example of that, so around 60,000, 65,000 people apply, and only 360 people are getting selected. So less than 0.5% people are getting selected, and these are the people that you be with for coming 2 years. You learn from them. So for me, and I think for every one of you, the biggest motivator should be that the other 359 people that would be there with you will be better than you, and you can learn from each and every one of them. And that 2 years of learning from those better 359 people is something that I think should motivate everyone for going to IIM or XLI or any such institutes.
Yeah,
So I
Professor
think,
Mansuri, I'll just want to.
Roshan, please, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks Amim and Aman for giving their perspective. I just want to give a different perspective on this, just to make sure the students are well aware of all the options that they have, because especially the crowd that we have are tech companies, which are on par with, of course, the MBA graduates, whatever they are getting out of MBA after placements, right? So to just take a step back, I just want to add that there are different kinds of people who are looking for an MBA. So the first kind is one, they do not enjoy their current role and they want to explore and shift to a managerial role. And the second category is people who just want to
Roshan, we are having a difficult time listening to you. Some audio issue.
get a master's degree and they are not. Hello.
Roshan, yeah. It's a bit difficult to, I think the connection is not good or the audio is giving a problem.
I'm sorry. I think my internet is patchy today.
Yeah.
I think I got the crux what Roshan is trying to say. I would like to elaborate on that, and if I miss any point, Roshan, you can pitch in then. So, you should decide whether you should want to pursue MBA or not, based by weighing all your options, right? Because things are not same as they used to be 10 years ago. They're not very degree focused workplace, and Google has stopped hiring based on the degree. It's the industry, the job environment is all more shifting towards skill based hiring, right? So focus on what kind of work do you want to do, what kind of career path do you want to take, what skill set are required to pursue that career path, and if one of the skill set, and if those skill set you can attain those skill set through MBA, then only go for MBA, because you really don't need an MBA to chart out a career path which you want. And there is money in all the industry. Money is everywhere, and more than money, it's important that you trust me, we all three discuss about it every day, that पैसा तो ठीक है, पर जो जॉब में दिमाग खराब होता है, because we are not enjoying the work we are doing, वो different level of stress, and trust me, you don't want to take that stress at all. So try to figure out, ask this question to yourself again and again, what do I like, what do I want to do? Or I know it's a very basic question, हर कोई बोलता होगा, but then it's a very important question. Keep asking yourself, क्या मुझे इस काम में मजा आता है? Will I be able to do this work again and again every single day for years? So ask that. And just to give you an example, how people are performing without even an IIM, my younger brother, he's working in Amazon. He has a package of 60 lakhs. He is a computer science student, got into Amazon right after graduation, and he's earning well. And there are my batchmates as well from food technology background. They did some course in coding, or from different sources, Coursera or some university or some vocational institution, learned coding, learned about AI and ML, and they are working at good places with a decent package without having an MBA. So weigh your option. There are a lot of things that you can do. MBA is not just one option, but it's a good option. Do it only if you want to do it. And you're on mute, Asim.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think at this time, maybe we should just bring in the students who want to ask a question. Instead of me trying to look through this busy chat window here. I know Daniel had a question. So maybe Daniel, you can ask one. And after that, Danish Raza had some questions. We will just open it up one by one. Let's try to get in the questions. So Daniel, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So actually, one of my friends had a question, but she could not join the join the session due to some network issues. She asked that if she had a gap of 4 years between bachelor course and intermediate, due to some unintentional reasons, like leaving the college due to some problems, and then joining Jamia Millia Islamia after clearing the entrance exam, as a like BSc student, and now she wants to like prepare for CAT. So she had a question like, will her gap of 4 years affect the interview or not?
I think I'll take that. So the gap at any point of your life, right? I mean, after your 12th, after your 10th, after your undergrad, whatever gap you have, if you have good reason to explain that gap, it will not be a worry at all. You just need to be sure, as we mentioned, right, in all our stories of interviews, you just need to be aware, and you just need to have sufficient reasons for all of the things that you have done in your life. And if those reasons are explainable and if they are legit, nobody cares. I mean, they just look at what other things you have done in your life post that gap.
And
Yeah.
also,
Okay, so
I can give examples of people who I think were my batchmates. I know three of them personally. All three of them took a gap of, one took a gap of 3 years and the other took a gap of 4 years each. They're preparing for UPSC after their graduation. They could not clear the UPSC, so they came and they cleared that and they joined in. And all three of them are working in the best of the best companies right now. One is in Tata Administrative Services, one is in Mahindra Group Management category, and one is in ITC. So, and I think that those three were the most respected people in our batch because they had so much knowledge to share with all of them. Whenever on any topic there would be some discussion, they would come and just pitch in their thought. So they could explain, as Aman was saying, that they could explain that yes, I could clear my pre 2 times, but did not get into mains, or I could get into mains, did not clear my interview. So the interviewer is also a human, so he understands that, okay, fine, this is the reason, this is the legit reason, and fine, that guy is or girl is trying to make a change now. So it's okay.
And the reason can be professional, it can be personal as well. I don't know if you relate to it, but I know a lot of girls, they are forced to quit their education. I know a lot of girls personally because of some family reasons. You can give that reason in your interview, and it is pretty well accepted because people understand. Give I'll give you an example. One of my batchmate in IMA, she took a 1 year gap after her undergrad, and she literally said that in her interview she wasn't working at all. She literally said that in said this in her interview, that if she took if she would have taken a job, her parents would have assumed that everything is now settled in life. There's nothing more that she needs to do, and they would have married her off. So she literally said that, and she knew that she wanted to pursue further education, and so she took a 1 year gap. She prepared for MBA, and she got into IIM.
So there is another question which Daniel had asked, maybe just I will ask it for him, which I think is very relevant for the entire group in some sense. So he's saying that there's a lot of overlap between the syllabus for GRE as well as CAT. I mean, at least in terms of verbal ability, etc., and maybe a little bit in terms of reading comprehension and quantitative stuff. So the question is, if you are preparing for GRE, getting into, I mean, preparing for CAT, would that be a natural thing to do, or would the transition be easier? So I have an answer. This is an old answer because, I did this, believe it or not, in 1986 or 85. So of course, many of you were not born at that time. So yes, I was preparing for GRE. And then I heard something called CAT. It wasn't called CAT at that time. I don't know what it was called. But anyway, so, yes, the transition is possible. And if you have, the skills in place, it might actually not be that difficult to sort of, do both, at least in terms of pursuing and see what happens. In my case, I got some admission in some useless university in the US. I will not name it just because I'm now a professor. I cannot do those types of things. But and then I got into IIM Bangalore, so I decided, okay, let's go to IIM Bangalore. Yes, that transition is possible. Danish Raza has a number of questions. Danish, if your connection is good, you want to ask them yourselves. This might be a good opportunity to get the students to start participating. Danish?
Yeah, I love to ask. Hello,
Sure.
am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So my question is, how do you manage the art of balancing your job and like CAT preparation or MBA? Like, how do you manage all those things at the same time, keeping yourself motivated along the path? Because you have to keep feeding yourself, the family, the job, and like at that time, the marriage stuff also comes in. So how do you manage all those things? It's quite difficult. I think like I can't imagine. So I would love to hear it from you all.
Okay, I'll take it. So, Tanish, you really need to be motivated. As Amim said, that know your reasons why why you're preparing for CAD, why do you want to pursue MBA, and keep reminding yourself those reasons. And if you, yeah, and those reasons will only keep you motivated, and those reasons will only help you to balance everything in your life. When it comes to the marriage part, just shun your mind about that. Like, parents will keep on saying that it's their duty. Just shun your mind about that. Don't listen to it. Wait, एक कान से सुना दूसरे से निकाल दिया. They won't understand about it. I face that problem with me personally. I used to hear it. Okay, MBA. Why are you aiming for IIMs? It's pretty tough. Do it from somewhere here only. Why are you wasting 1 year? If you want to do it, do an IMA. Do it from any XYZ university. Things like that. And because they were worried about if I spend for them it was like one entire year just for preparing IMA, and what if she doesn't get it? So for them that 1 year gap was the 1 year time period was huge. So yeah, I understand. So that pressure was on me every single day. I just एक कान से निकला दूसरे से निकाला. So be focused. Always remember your reasons. List down those reasons. Why do you want to? Why are you preparing for CAT? Why do you want to go to an IIM? Why do you want to pursue MBA? And keep remembering those reasons. Keep reminding yourselves those reasons. Join a study group. Study with people who are preparing for the same exam, and yeah, keep interacting with them on a daily basis.
Okay. There's another question. Shafiq, I don't. Do you want to ask your question, Shafiq? If he's still here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Shafiq. Yes.
My question is, does life really becomes bed of roses after getting into IIMs? And what are the challenges that you guys faced during and after your admission into IIMs? Thank you.
Okay. Aman, do you want to take it?
Okay. So about bed of roses, right? I mean, life doesn't become a bed of roses anytime, in my opinion. Even after you graduate from IIM, Harvard, or any college for that matter, right? You will experience different difficulties even in IIMs, but the kind of support system and the kind of confidence that you will develop in order to fight those difficulties and get over these difficulties will increase, and the support system will also increase, right? For example, talking about me personally about difficulties, life in IIMs is pretty fast paced, right? I mean, you have academics, you have clubs, you have internships, you have lots of assignments, right? But when it becomes difficult, you also get a strong support system in order for you to get over these difficulties, for that matter. You have amazing set of friends, you have amazing set of seniors, you have amazing set of professors. And in particular, when I kind of differentiate my undergraduate experience with respect to postgrad, postgraduate difference, the kind of experience at IIMs is designed for you to interact with people and reach out to people and learn from them, right? So you develop a very strong kind of support system, network of friends, acquaintances, connections, etc., that you can reach out to for help any point of time, right? And the struggles will also be there. I mean, you may not get your desired internships, you may not get desired courses, you may not do very good in courses, but at the end of the day, when you kind of graduate and look back, they don't seem very big problems, right? I mean, when you join work, you are kind of grateful that you have had those kind of experiences. You are in a place. So, for example, as Amim mentioned, right, when as compared to my previous job, I am earning 4x, like 4 times salary, right? I'm drawing 4 times salary. I am interacting with the CEO of the organization on a weekly basis in my work. I am sitting on the same table and discussing the problems and solving them, right? So kind of opportunities that become available to you literally changed like 180, 360. The kind of people you hang out with, the kind of people you interact with. And I think in my opinion, what makes the experience, entire IIM experience worthwhile is the people that you get to meet with. I mean, hands down, be it like leave academics aside, leave, jobs aside, anything aside, right? It is the people. It is like 400 people from the same batch, 400 seniors that you get to interact with. That is what is the crux of the experience, because these people are amazing. I mean, amazing. I don't know. It's not even a good word to describe these people, because you'll have people who are engineers, you'll have people who are humanities. We had golf champion, chess champion, people who had represented India in Asia. I mean, models, right? In our batches, people from diverse personalities, such kind of crowd, I don't think I would be able to get in a single place at one point of time apart from these institutes. And you get to call them friends. I mean, I'll take that experience any time of the day.
But there are a couple of things you can start from today to prepare yourself for after you get admission in IIM. You can start working on your public speaking skills. You can start working on your networking skills. Okay, I'm going to, so for especially for the ones who are very introverted and who are scared to talk to people. Even I was that kind of person years back. So yeah, you can I literally read books on how to interact with people. I read books on how to win friends and influence people. I read book called Talking to Strangers, and trust me, those are good books and they really helps. The first 10 pages of how to win friends and influence people literally changed my life. So yeah, don't hesitate to pick up such titles. Don't They're not cliched books. They really have some good advisors, and work on those skills and they'll come in handy. And as Aman said, you're forced to talk to people over there. You are completing courses of you'll be completing courses of finances in 6 months, which people have covered in 3 years. So you can't do it all by yourself. You need people to help you out. You have to reach out to people from finance background to make you explain those concepts and make you study those concepts. So yeah, you have to talk to people. There's no escape to that.
Danish has his hand up. Apart from Danish, there are many others on this, call. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Very rarely do you see youngsters talking to you. Old folks like me are always there, but this is your opportunity to sort of, get current advice, as they say. So Danish, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to know how would you summarize, like you told like your life was changed after reading the first 10 pages of those books, how to start a conversation and all. So how would you summarize to tell all of us guys here present here that you should do this or whatever? Like I would love to hear advice from you.
Nice trick, Danish. मुझे 10 पेज भी नहीं पढ़ने, मुझे अभी बता दो. Good. So I will still say read it by yourself. I can summarize those 10 pages for you, but read it, understand in your own, understand those pages from your own perspective, and you'll understand it. The main crux of those pages is that every person has an opinion, every person has a different perspective. They can justify their own actions, their own words in their way, and there's no way that you can find to, you know, win them over. So whenever you're having an interaction with someone, you need to understand their side of story as well, from where they are coming, their perspective as well, and it can't be all you. So that's the major crux of those 10 pages. But read them by yourself, understand it from your own perspective, and yeah.
Okay.
do
Uh, anybody else has a question? Otherwise, we should wind down because this is like, it's gone on for some time now and it must be late in India. So if there are any questions.
I see one question here that after being shortlisted, what will be the approximate fees of top IIM like Ahmedabad, and what the scholarship and opportunities? How will you manage to handle this? Okay, fine. One of the yes, all of these institutes, whichever were listed in top 20, I think on an average, I can say that all of these, the fees would be somewhere between 16 to 24 lakhs. All of these MBA colleges. If you look at IIM Raipur or newer IIMs, the fees would be around 16. If you look at XLI, IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, all of these will be on the north of 24 lakh fees. So that's fees cleared. But the other thing is that the day you get admission into these institutes, you will start getting mail from Punjab National Bank, Central Bank, State Bank of India, saying that, okay, we are offering loans at the lowest price or the lowest interest rate possible. And because you have qualified these colleges like IIMs and all that, so they don't take any collateral from you. That's the first advantage that is there. So you don't need to say कि okay मेरा घर गिरवी रख लो और मुझे MBA की डिग्री दे दो. Nothing of that sort happens. So you just go and sign a form and your loan gets sanctioned. So that is how it is easy, how easy it is to get that loan. And paying off that loan also is not that difficult after you do decently well in those institutions. Now coming to scholarships, there are a lot of scholarships which are institute driven, and also there are a lot of scholarships which are driven by other organizations also. For example, if you, for example, how you used to happen in Excel, and I think it used to happen in similar fashion all the other institutes also. So like Aditya Birla says, okay, fine, if you are the top 20 rank holders of your institute, we will give you 4 lakh rupees of a scholarship under the name of XYZ person in Aditya Birla. Your institute, if you are in the top 20 in let's say directors merit list, then they give you some amount. If you are a good let's say you there are other scholarships like some XYZ people, government of India scholarship, so they are also giving scholarships. So there are scholarships, but if I have not come across a scholarship which is like, okay, 100% of your fees is financed from this scholarship. So not like that, but a bit of it like 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, these kind of scholarships are there, possible. But I think 99% of the people who are not, so there's a joke in MBA that the luckiest person is one who did not take a loan for doing his MBA. So whose parents could or someone could get their MBAs financed. So, but I think for the majority part of the students that are doing MBA from these institutes, all of them are going for an education loan. And these education loans, I think, are the cheapest loan that are there right now. For example, my interest rate was 7%. So there's no interest that is, no loan that is cheaper than that. And that's because you have qualified that examination. Exception to this pandemic. In this pandemic, all the loans have gone very low. Housing loan has gone below 6%. So other than the pandemic, I think it's the cheapest loan that you get. So yeah.
Okay, there's a question from Ayman Rizwan saying, Aman, do you want to ask it yourself or should?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Everybody can.
Everyone. I wanted to ask,
Go ahead, Aman.
Is faint, Aman.
Aman.
Aman, can you speak a little louder?
Ivan, it looks like we could hear you before, but now we cannot. So let me just read it. It's probably easier given that we are towards the end of things. So her question, basically, if I understand it correctly, is that during the interview, do people whose first priority was an MBA degree have an advantage over others who were probably pursuing multiple things, but at the same time ended up sort of, writing the CAT. Okay, so and my experience is, I was exactly in the same position as this particular question. Nobody really says, okay, I am going to get into the IIMs and that is the only thing that I am going to pursue. It's very difficult. You have to pursue many things in life. And so I don't think that matters. As Shaista mentioned, it is all about, how to make yourself interesting and how you can converse. And I think that's what matters. But you guys can answer it probably.
Yeah, I think I'll take that up. So first point, no one in the interview is going to ask about your priorities. Fake it till you make it. Say them you're made for IIM. Say them your IIM has been your dream since you were born. Just make it IIM. In the interview, nobody is going to ask you what your other options are or where is IIM placed in your priority list. Yeah, so do that. But personally, be aware about your priorities. Be very well aware where does IIM stands for you, what other opportunities do you have, and where is your interest more inclined. Just have that clarity to yourself, and for sure have that clarity. Try to seek that clarity. But in the interview, nobody is going to ask what your priority is.
Any other questions? Barira, you have a question you want to ask? Let's make that the last question then. So Barira's question was what?
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes, Barira, please.
So my question was like, how can we prepare for any interview in a best of best manner? Because we can't be fully prepared for the upcoming questions from the interviewer. So how can we prepare for the best way possible?
I think I'll take that up. So as I had mentioned during my when I was sharing my interview experience, right, that I was not prepared at all for the mechanical engineering questions that I was expecting will come my way. And as Shaista mentioned, right, every interview will start with tell me something about yourself, right, and that is the chance that you have to structure the interview according to your wishes. So what I did was I completely skipped that I was a mechanical engineering student in tell me about yourself. So I did not mention at all, right, that I had graduated from mechanical engineering. And I mentioned all the parts that I wanted them to ask me. So for example, I said that I had a habit of reading books. I said that I had lived in those cities. I said that I was a part of these clubs and I founded these clubs in my undergrad. I said that I loved cycling, right? All these things I mentioned purposefully because I wanted them to pick these things up and ask me questions about it. I did not mention at all that I was a mechanical engineering student or I was, working as a data analytics kind of associate at a company, right? Because once that Pandora's box gets opened up, they can ask any kind of questions, right? So the first thing I do when I am appearing for any kind of interview is that I write everything I've done about in my life, right? So for example, if let's say I have founded a club, right? I will write about that, what was my drive about finding that club, what all activities I did, what kind of learnings I had, what was the time period, what like what was the inspiration, what all help did I need, and how where did I seek help, how did I, manage my time during academics, during work life, during that club, etc. So you write all the possible questions, right? And then you write one line answers to those questions, and then you think, okay, what can be the next question to, if you answer this particular, like if you answer this way, right? So you develop a chain of answers, and most of the time you would have covered 80 to 90% of the questions this way, and rest then you will have to leave it to luck. I mean, you can't be 100% prepared, right? But be prepared in the best way possible and drive the interview. Don't leave it to the interviewer to drive it. You yourself should be able to drive the interview.
This is great, and I guess you can also do mock interviews. Help each other out.
Yep.
I think that helps. I think we are nearing the end. Probably people are tired. Basharat bhai, do you want to finish?
Yeah,
this
the
thing?
last point which Aman said, I think you plan your interview like a good chess player. He decides what moves the opponents will make. So then you plan it and then you trap the opponent. He keep on making those moves which you wanted him to make. Wonderful point, Aman. And then nobody really realizes this, and they make some nonsensical statement and then they get trapped after that. It's a good point, really. I think everybody should learn that.
Yeah, in fact, the entire, approach that he sort of, presented about interviews is something, very general and can be applied in almost any interviewing situation. So I think that itself is valuable. So, Basharat bhai, do you want to conclude or should I conclude?
Yeah, I think you can conclude. It was excellent. All the three of you have done really full justice to the topic, and I'm sure our youngsters are inspired a lot. And then they made it so simple. No, it's possible. You decide. That's it, and you work for it, and then you can make it. And Shaista, I think you have a good habit of making things easier by when you talk, you keep smiling, and then you never make it feel difficult. You never gave them that kind of feeling that don't attempt it. I'm sure most of them will sign up for MBA, the CAT exam now. Thank you.
In fact, all three of you, are smiling individuals.
Yes.
Excellent role models for all the students who benefited from you today. It's makes me proud to see such youngsters from within the community. And so, thank you very much once again for doing this. This was a wonderful, wonderful session. In fact, very motivating. It almost motivated an old guy like me to write the CAT again. So I think, all in all, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. And, hopefully the students and also CETI can benefit from your continued association. Certainly, people need the message that you have sort of, conveyed. And so once again, thank you.
And also, before leaving, just one last thing that I would like to say is that we also believe that MBA is not the only option to do well. And therefore, as you were talking about earlier about Misal, so Misal is one thing where other than MBA, we try to highlight the profiles of people from various other fields, be it an IPS officer, be it someone working in Amazon, be it someone who is an entrepreneur. So you can go to YouTube, you can search for Misal, MISAAL, or you can go to our website called misal.co.in. And there are a lot of profiles and there's stories that you can visit, and you will find that these are people who inspire us to do more than what we are today, and make us feel that, okay, fine, and this is what you can do, this is what you can do more. And we would love that if you have any suggestions for people that we can host on that platform, then you can reach out to any three of us on LinkedIn, and you can share the name or the profile of those people that you want us to actually host on that show also. So we would love to get your feedback on that also. And it's a small initiative right now. We want to make it big, and we would love your support on that also.
Asim, I'll take 1 minute here. See, we used to do this program at CETI long back, and we would call one role model every Sunday. And then the format of the program was it could be DGP or Commissioner of Police or some politician, a good person or a bureaucrat. Now, half an hour, that person will talk to these youngsters. This was the 1921 age group, and then he will tell them what he was doing when he was your age. These guys' age exactly, 19 years. What were his hobbies? How he spent his time? How he wasted his time? How he was ignorant about a lot of things, and he would fight with his parents and never bother about time. And then finally, where he has landed. After those 20-25 minutes, 45 minutes. We'll throw the session open. 1 hour, in fact. The participants were allowed to ask any question except a personal question. And these people would take it very sportively. We'd get people from military, we got from the defense services, and then something like that, what you guys have been doing, but I don't know why we stopped doing it. And then when they were talking about how they behaved at that age, these boys will be comparing themselves, boys and girls. And then said there's so similarity between what they did and what we're doing. Then when they can do it, why can't we do it? That is the question which keep coming on in their mind. Oh, I just want to mention that.
That's a pretty cool concept. I think we should start it again and do it collaboratively with Nusa.
Yeah, Shaista, that the only thing is if you show video, that you will not get that. Everybody will have a unique question in their mind. And they raise this question, and this person, I tell you, I'll take 2 more minutes. How we used to do that. We would tell this group, we had a group, we were called Compete Club. We had a group of 40 students. Every year, one batch, we would do 13 Sundays. Then we say, okay, who will call, which role model will call. Then we would push that name slowly without it coming from our side. Then they said, why don't you go and meet him and invite them? They said, no, sir, how can we go and invite them? He's Commissioner of Police. He will not give us an interview. We would say, you go and try. And then they used to be known to us, so we'll put in a simple word that they will call you. Please allow them to come and meet you and treat them well. So these guys, these 3-4 of them, boys and girls together, they would go as a group. And then this secretary will take them into the ante room, make them sit there, serve them tea and then biscuits and some snacks. And then this man will come and sit in the ante room, talk to them for half an hour, tell them about themselves, invite them, you will accept the invitation. All this drama we used to play without they realizing that we were the ones who were doing this behind. But what happened is it used to boost up their confidence, their morale. Yeah, yes, we can go and meet somebody. And there's no point in hesitating. And then that was really good. I think at least 40-45 people we had called from every walk of life. Yeah. Sportsmen, Arshad, IUV calls. I don't know, Zaruddin came or not, I know. Who were in Hyderabad available to the minister, we had called once. I think Misal is good. Nasim was mentioning, I was really impressed by that. But see, if you can still do some live sessions if possible.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it sometime in future.
Sure.
So again, I guess, with that, thank you very much. Really appreciate, and I'm sure the students appreciate it too. Very, very fascinating, interesting conversation. So with that, I think, Khalil, maybe you will have to end the show.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.